True wealth isn't just about money or titles. It's about the peace you feel when you close your eyes at night. Imagine waking up energized, spending meaningful moments with your family, pursuing your passions, and still achieving the goals you set. Yet, so many chase success while losing themselves along the way. Today, we'll explore the art of balancing work and life, the secret to not just surviving, but thriving. Stay with me until the end, because by the time we're finished, you'll see a clear path to designing a life filled with wealth, health, and happiness. 1. Defining your version of success. Success is one of the most misunderstood words in modern life, largely because we inherit definitions that were never ours to begin with. From childhood, society hands us pre-packaged visions of what making it looks like: titles, money, recognition, or some glossy highlight reel that rarely reflects the depth of a meaningful human experience. But real success does not come from external applause. It comes from internal alignment. It is the quiet, steady feeling that your days are spent in harmony with what you value, what you believe in, and what you want your life to stand for. Defining your own version of success means peeling away the layers of expectation: family expectations, cultural expectations, professional expectations, and asking yourself what actually resonates with your heart. Maybe success for you is creative freedom, the ability to build something meaningful without being constrained by rigid structures. Maybe it's time to think, to breathe, to travel, to sit with loved ones without rushing through life like it's an emergency. Maybe it's contribution, the sense that you are leaving the world just a little better than you found it. Or maybe it's balance, the ability to nurture ambitions without sacrificing your well-being. Your success might not include a luxury car, but instead include a peaceful morning routine, a fulfilling craft, or the ability to wake up without dread. Once you recognize that you are allowed to choose your own metrics, you liberate yourself from the invisible pressure of living according to someone else's scorecard. And this clarity is essential to balance. When you know what matters, you stop wasting energy on what doesn't. You no longer chase every opportunity out of fear of missing out. You choose intentionally. You no longer compare your journey to someone else's because you finally understand that two people with different values can never walk the same path. True success begins when your goals stop being influenced by the noise around you and start being shaped by the truth within you. So take a moment today to reflect deeply and honestly. What does success look like for me? Not for my parents, not for my peers, not for society, but for me. What does a successful day feel like? What does a successful life feel like? What would I pursue if no one ever praised me for it? And what would I let go of if no one ever judged me for it? The answers to these questions are the foundation of a balanced, purpose-driven life. Without your own definition of success, you will always find yourself running, but never arriving. With it, you can build a future that is not only admirable, but deeply fulfilling. 2. Managing time for family, health, and wealth. Time is the great equalizer. Every person, regardless of status or circumstance, is given the same 24 hours each day. Yet we often treat it as if it were renewable, as if time lost can simply be recovered later. But the truth is that time is the only resource that can never be earned back, and understanding this transforms the way you approach balance. Managing time effectively is not about squeezing productivity into every corner of your day. It is about aligning your hours with your priorities so that your life reflects what you truly value. Family, health, and wealth are the three pillars that support a fulfilling life, but each requires deliberate attention. Family time is irreplaceable. Children grow, relationships evolve, and the moments you miss cannot be replayed. Health is the silent partner in every goal you pursue. Without it, even the greatest achievements lose their meaning. And financial stability, while not the sole measure of success, provides the freedom to live with dignity and intention. Balancing these elements requires a conscious strategy. You must schedule your priorities instead of allowing your schedule to be filled by default. Set boundaries around your time the same way you would protect your most valuable possessions. Block time for rest, movement, and connection. Create rituals that nourish your relationships, even if they seem small. A daily check-in, a shared meal, a weekly outing. These moments accumulate and become the emotional foundation of your life. At the same time, your work should not consume every ounce of your energy. It should coexist with your personal world, not devour it. Time management is really energy management. You must pay attention to what drains you and what restores you. Learn to say no to commitments that do not align with your priorities, and recognize that every yes carries an opportunity cost. Protect your mornings if they are your most productive hours, or your evenings if they are your time for intimacy and rest. Understand that wealth means nothing if your relationships are neglected, just as a perfect family life cannot sustain itself if financial stress overwhelms your home. Balance comes from creating harmony among these domains, not perfection within any single one. Your goal is not to maximize every hour, but to make sure the hours you spend reflect the life you want to build. When you look back years from now, you will remember the laughter, the health you preserved, the connections you nurtured, and the purpose you followed, not the overtime or the digital distractions that once consumed your days. Managing time intentionally is a lifelong practice, but it begins with a simple question. Am I giving my time to the things that matter most? 3. Avoiding burnout through balance. Burnout is often misunderstood as a consequence of hard work, but in reality, it is the result of chronic imbalance, giving more energy than you replenish, ignoring your own limits, and living in a cycle of constant output without recovery. Many people wear exhaustion like a medal, convinced that burnout signals dedication or discipline. But burnout is not a badge of honor. It is a warning sign that something fundamental is out of alignment. When you push yourself endlessly, you drain the very qualities that make you effective: creativity, focus, emotional resilience, and passion. The path to avoiding burnout begins with the simple acknowledgement that you are not a machine and you were never meant to operate like one. You need time to rest, to breathe, to reflect, and to reconnect with what inspires you. Balance is not the enemy of ambition. It is the foundation that allows ambition to thrive sustainably. Recognizing when to slow down is not a weakness. It is emotional intelligence. Delegating is not laziness. It is resourcefulness. Saying no is not selfish. It is a strategic act of self-preservation. The key is to understand that your energy is your most precious asset, and once depleted, everything else suffers: your work, your relationships, your health, your sense of purpose. Burnout often starts subtly: a neglected hobby, skipped meals, restless nights, constant irritability, or the feeling that every task is heavier than it should be. These are early signals urging you to pause and recalibrate. When you prioritize rest, you regenerate your capacity to engage fully with life. Sleep becomes sharper thinking. Breaks become renewed enthusiasm. Boundaries become emotional freedom. True balance is created by designing a life where your work supports your well-being, not erodes it. This might mean rethinking your workload, rearranging your schedule, asking for help, or redistributing responsibilities. It might mean stepping back from environments that drain you or shifting toward work that aligns more closely with your values. Productivity is not measured by how much you endure, but by how efficiently and joyfully you can create, contribute, and grow. When you protect your energy, when you honor your physical, mental, and emotional limits, you elevate the quality of your presence in everything you do. you show up clearer, calmer, more engaged, and more inspired. And ultimately, you learn that balance is not a luxury reserved for the privileged. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to live a meaningful and sustainable life. You deserve a life where you are not merely surviving day to day, but thriving with intention, clarity, and peace. 4. Using rest as a tool for productivity. Rest is not wasted time. It is a fundamental pillar of sustainable productivity, a resource as essential as discipline, strategy, or ambition. Many people fall into the trap of believing that constant motion is equivalent to progress, but the reality is far more nuanced. The human mind and body are not machines designed to operate at maximum capacity without reprieve. Rest restores clarity, sharpens decision-making, and replenishes the emotional bandwidth needed to handle complex challenges. In a world that glamorizes busyness, choosing to rest becomes a radical and wise act of self-preservation. Rest is not the enemy of success. Rest is the hidden engine driving success forward. When we sleep, our brain consolidates memories, repairs cells, and processes the emotional backlog of our day. Without sufficient sleep, creativity withers, problem-solving slows, and focus fractures. Science consistently shows that chronic sleep deprivation mimics the effects of intoxication. Yet people often pride themselves on burning the candle at both ends. The truly productive person respects sleep as a core component of their performance. They understand that turning off the lights early is not an indulgence, but an investment. Prioritizing sleep is not about laziness. It is about being mentally sharp, emotionally stable, and physically capable of meeting the demands ahead. Short breaks throughout the day also play a powerful role in maintaining momentum. A pause is not a setback, it is a reset button for the nervous system. When you step away from your desk, stretch, breathe, or simply look at something other than a screen, your mind recalibrates. Ideas that felt tangled begin to unwind. Solutions that seemed invisible reveal themselves. This is because cognitive resources are finite. Like a muscle, the brain fatigues and breaks provide the necessary recovery to prevent overload. Some of the most innovative breakthroughs in history occurred when the mind was at rest rather than forcefully grinding through a problem. Downtime, true downtime, is equally important. Time spent in restful stillness, quiet reflection, slow walks, or enjoyable leisure is not laziness, but lubrication for the mind. Constant activity creates mental friction, whereas rest smooths the pathways of thought. Many highly successful individuals openly credit their greatest achievements to the periods when they stepped back, allowed ideas to incubate, and trusted the quiet spaces between actions. Rest brings perspective. It helps you zoom out from your immediate tasks and reconnect with your long-term vision. When you give yourself permission to pause, you return with greater clarity, intention, and purpose. Working endlessly without rest leads to burnout, resentment, and declining performance. Working strategically with planned recovery creates sustainable momentum and long-term achievement. Rest teaches you to honor your limits without viewing them as weaknesses. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by constant output. Productivity is not about how much you can cram into a day, but about how effectively you operate within your natural cycles of energy. When you embrace rest as part of your workflow, you create a rhythm of effort and renewal that enables you to show up consistently at your best. Ultimately, rest is not passive. It is active preparation for excellence. It is the soil in which resilience grows, the shelter in which creativity thrives, and the oxygen that keeps your inner fire burning without extinguishing itself. To rest is to respect yourself. To rest is to strengthen your future. The more intentionally you recover, the more impactful your actions become when you return to your work. True success is built not on endless exertion, but on the disciplined balance between striving and restoring. Embrace rest not as an interruption, but as an essential tool for becoming the most effective, clear-headed, and powerful version of yourself. 5. Living with harmony and joy. True balance in life is not a perfect division of hours between work, rest, and play. It is a state of inner harmony where each part of your existence supports and enriches the others. Harmony is not measured by time, but by alignment. When your actions reflect your values and your days reflect what truly matters to you, life takes on a richness that productivity alone can never provide. Joy becomes woven into your routine, not as an occasional reward, but as a natural expression of living authentically. Harmony emerges when you allow yourself to be fully human, purposeful, connected, playful, and present. Work gives life structure and meaning, but without rest it becomes overwhelming, and without joy it becomes empty. Rest gives you renewal, but without purpose it becomes stagnation. Joy gives you vitality, but without grounding it becomes fleeting. Harmony is found in the intentional blending of all three, where each complements the others rather than competes for your time. Picture your life as a symphony. Every instrument matters, every pause has purpose, and the beauty comes not from perfection, but from integration. When work aligns with your values, when rest is honored, and when play is welcomed, life flows with a sense of natural completeness. Joy does not need to be dramatic or extravagant. It is often found in the small, quiet, intimate moments of your day, the warmth of morning sunlight, a good conversation, the satisfaction of finishing a task, the laughter shared with someone you love. These moments are easy to overlook when life becomes a race, but they are the building blocks of meaning. When you learn to recognize and savor them, you enrich your emotional well-being and multiply your sense of fulfillment. Joy deepens when you give yourself permission to appreciate the present instead of constantly chasing the next milestone. To live with harmony and joy, you must cultivate mindfulness, the ability to be where you are, fully and without judgment. Mindfulness allows you to recognize your needs before exhaustion forces you to. It empowers you to say no when necessary, to prioritize relationships that uplift you, and to release habits or environments that drain your energy. Harmony is not accidental. It is constructed through intentional choices. Every small decision, how you spend your morning, who you allow into your life, how you speak to yourself, shapes the emotional atmosphere you live in. Choosing harmony means choosing alignment again and again. Living joyfully also means strengthening connections. Humans thrive on meaningful relationships, heartfelt conversations, and shared experiences. When you nurture your connections with others, you nurture your own emotional balance. Surrounding yourself with supportive, encouraging, and compassionate people amplifies your sense of belonging and grounding. Celebrate your victories together. Uplift others when they struggle, and allow yourself to be uplifted too. Harmony grows when you give generously and receive openly, creating a cycle of trust and connection that enhances your overall quality of life. The goal is not to engineer a perfectly scheduled life, but to cultivate a deeply lived one. A life where you honor your work without allowing it to consume you, where you rest without guilt, where you pursue joy without hesitation. A life where you remain aware of what matters most and choose it repeatedly, even when distractions and pressures pull at your attention. Harmony and joy are not destinations, they are daily practices. They arise from the way you move through your world, the way you care for yourself, and the way you respond to the moments that shape you. In the end, living with harmony and joy means embracing your humanity fully. It means allowing your life to unfold with both discipline and softness, both ambition and gratitude. It means celebrating your progress, cherishing your relationships, and finding meaning in the ordinary as well as the extraordinary. When you live intentionally and joyfully, you unlock a life that feels whole, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is deeply lived. Harmony becomes your inner compass, joy becomes your companion, and together they guide you toward a life of fulfillment, balance, and purpose. Don't just make a living, design a life. Focus on what matters, protect your energy, and create a balance that fuels both your success and your happiness. True wealth includes peace of mind, and that starts with the choices you make today.